Developer Techland has had a crack at the zombie genre a couple of times now with the releases of Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. Decent, if not spectacular, they return to have another stab at the undead in the form of Dying Light. Is it third time lucky or another case of close but no cigar? Well, at its core, Dying Light is a first-person, open-world survival game filled with zombies, just like Dead Island, but the tone and feeling is completely different. Plus, it's far more polished too. You play as Crane, a GRE operative sent into the zombie-infested city of Haran to retrieve an important piece of data. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong. What follows is a disappointingly formulaic story plagued with forgettable characters. It has some redeemable moments, but for the most part it's just there to service the gameplay. Thankfully, that's where Dying Light shines.
Filled with Antizin. The GRE sends in a one-way video feed that lets us know when they're on the way. Look, the trouble is, the airdrops with Antizin keep getting raided by Rise's thugs.
The best thing about it is the first-person parkour. It's exceptional. If you think you can climb it, you can. At times, the zombies almost became a side dish for me, as I just simply wanted to run around and climb things, especially after leveling up my agility to a decent point. Yep, that's right, you can level up one of 3 areas as you progress through Dying Light, increasing your agility, power, and ability to survive. The survival aspect ties into a nice little crafting system, allowing you to scavenge loot scattered around to create things like medkits, molotovs, and some inventive weapons too. You have to find blueprints before you can actually create said items, but once you do, it's simply a case of going into the crafting menu and doing your thing. And then you have the zombies. Yes, as you'd expect, they play a huge part in Dying Light. They're a constant present, creeping up in various different shapes and sizes, whether it's day or night, especially the latter. You see, during the day, the majority of zombies are slow and lumbering, being more of a nuisance or things to play around with. Personally, I found it highly amusing testing new weapons out on them, or just luring them into explosive traps. A testament to the quality of the combat. Just like Techland's previous zombie efforts, melee combat is the order of the day. You can use anything from planks to pipe to bash zombie skulls in, but you do need to be careful as you have limited combat stamina and weapons will eventually become useless. Upgrading your stamina is an option, but repairing weapons can only be done a certain number of times. Hey, it is a survival game after all. Speaking of survival, at night the balance of power shifts dramatically, with the entire mood of the game changing. Everything about Dying Light just becomes more tense and sinister. The standard zombies remain, but new ones turn up too. These undead are faster, smarter, and just plain deadlier than anything you encounter during the day. You can go about your business as usual, smacking zombies without care. You'll earn more XP, but chances are you'll probably die. In the dark, it's best to sneak your way to safety, and that's where another facet of Dying Light's gameplay steps in. Kind of like the towers in Far Cry 4, you can choose to power up safe houses around Haran, making your life easier during the night. There are usually a few tougher zombies wandering around these areas, so getting a safe house up and running is anything but easy. There are other side missions for you to complete too, many coming your way courtesy of characters you meet. Some are simple fetch quests, but the majority tie in quite nicely with the very good main story missions, keeping your interest rather than just being something extra to do. Visually, Dying Light is a bit of a treat. During the day, sunlight caresses the building and streets, showing off the detailed city of Haran very nicely. At night, the light from your torch illuminates the environment, helping to create a tense atmosphere. The dynamic weather system is also extremely impressive. The zombies look suitably disgusting too, in a good way of course. What isn't so great is the horrible lip syncing. It's clear to see in every single cutscene, and a shame given that the voice acting is actually quite decent.
Which ones?
The first is Jafar's wheel station. It's just east of here.
If you just focus on the main story missions, Dying Light will take you around 14 hours to complete, but throw some side missions into the mix and you can bump up that figure to about 25 hours. Additionally, you have the option to play through the story with up to 3 friends. The co-op angle works extremely well, turning Haran into a bit of a zombie bashing playground. It's great fun. You also have the Be the Zombie mode, allowing you to play as one of the undead and join other players. It's decent, but ultimately nothing more than a side dish to the main course. The story isn't great, featuring some weak characters, and the lip syncing is horrible, but that doesn't take too much away from what is an excellent game. As far as open world zombie games go, Dying Light is up there with the best. The first person parkour is glorious, and the combat brutally satisfying. It's safe to say Techland has learned from their mistakes with Dead Island, and crafted a deep, satisfying experience. If you like your open worlds filled with zombies, make sure you take a trip to Haran.